Pedagogy of Mathematics Teaching Skills. Micro-teaching. Micro-teaching skills is a technique used in teacher training that gives the opportunity for teachers to review their own performance and receive feedback on their ability and development skills as a teacher. Now, we move on to micro-teaching cycle. First, we have to plan and then teach and then get the feedback. If the students find any difficulties, then we have to again replan, reteach and get feedback again. Advantages of micro-teaching. Micro-teaching has several advantages over traditional teaching methods. Micro-teaching can help instructors to improve their planning and organizational skills. By having to plan and deliver a short lesson, instructors can learn to be more efficient and effective in their teaching. Micro-teaching allows teachers to focus on specific skills and strategies. Micro-teaching provides an opportunity for immediate feedback and adjustment. Feedback from peers or mentors can be invaluable in improving one's teaching skills. Macro-teaching versus micro-teaching. Number of students. In macro-teaching, class consists of 40 to 60 students. In micro-teaching, class consists of less than 20 students. Skills involved. Teacher practices several skills or techniques at once. Teachers takes up one skill or technique of teaching at a time. Duration 30 to 40 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes. Feedback. Immediate feedback is not available. Immediate feedback available from students, supervisors to improve teaching. Control. Less control over students, more control due to small number of students. Complexity. Complex topic, relatively simple topic. Role of supervisor. Vague, clear. Interaction with students, less. Classroom interaction can be studied objectively. Reteaching. No provision for reteaching, provision for reteaching. Type of teacher involved, teacher, trainee teacher. Skill of set induction. Set induction is also called anticipatory set. Steps taken by a teacher to begin with a lesson or other classroom activity. To introduce topic and get students focused and interested in the day's lesson. When the learners are set, they are ready to learn. It is about getting ready and induced into the right frame or mindset to learn, concerned with the ways of introducing the teaching and learning process. Components of skill. Prompting technique. This involves the teacher giving hints to the pupil and asking leading questions. This technique allows the teacher to prompt by prompting the pupil, even though at first instance it appears that the pupil cannot answer this question. Seeking further information technique. If the initial response of the pupil is either incomplete or partially correct, then the teacher helps the pupil to clarify, elaborate, or explain his initial response. Here, the teacher elicits more information and meaning or seeks further clarification for the pupil by asking questions. Refocusing technique. This technique is generally used when the pupil gives the correct response. The teacher refocuses class attention to a related issue or a topic already covered in the class. The pupil views his response in relation to other similar situations. Redirection technique. This involves putting or directing the same question to several pupils for a response. This is generally done for the purpose and for increasing pupil participation. Increasing critical awareness technique. This involves asking how and why of a completely correct or expected response for the purpose of seeking increased critical awareness in the pupil. The technique elicits a rationale for the pupil's initial response. skill of reinforcement. This skill involves the teacher using more and more positive reinforcers and decreasing the use of negative reinforcers so that the pupil's participation in the class is maximized. Components of skills. Positive verbal reinforcement. This micro-teaching skill includes reinforcement through various verbal expressions in the form of teacher statements to communicate to the pupil's teacher's acceptance of students' ideas and feeling, or making encouraging remarks like good, right, yes, carry on, etc. or using extra verbal cues. Positive non-verbal reinforcement. It includes non-verbal expressions like nodding of the head, smiling, moving towards the responding pupil, or any other non-verbal action indicating pleasure at the pupil's response. Extra verbal cues. Expressions like carry on, continue, is, etc., which give encouragement to a complete or partially correct answer, is known as extraverbal cues. Repeating and rephrasing. Generally, a teacher repeats the correct answer or writes it on the blackboard. If the answer is partially correct, the teacher rephrases it. Writing pupil answer. In some cases, the student's answer is written on the blackboard by the teacher for the benefit of the class. Skill of stimulus variation. The skill of stimulus variation can be defined as a deliberate change in the attention-drawing behaviors of the teacher in order to secure and sustain the pupil's attention towards the lesson at a high level. Components of the skill. Movements. This includes movement from one place to another to encourage useful shifts for attention. For example, the teacher moves towards the board to write something on it, moves towards the back to see what the students are doing, and moves from the table to remove boredom. Gesture. Gestures include head, hand, and body movements to draw pupils' attention, to emphasize the importance, to express emotion, or indicate the shape, size, or movements, etc. Change in speech pattern. It includes a sudden or radical change in tone, volume, or speed of the teacher's speech for drawing the attention of the pupils. Focusing. This includes verbal focusing like listen carefully to this, look at this diagram, etc. to focus pupils' attention to a particular point. Gestural focusing like using gestures to focus pupil attention to a particular point in the lesson. Verbal and gestural focusing includes simultaneous use of verbal and gestural focusing, which can be done by pointing to a figure and saying verbally, look at this figure. Skill of explaining. Generally, a teacher is said to explain when he is describing how, why, and sometimes what of a concept, phenomenon, event, action, or a condition. Components of the skill. Desirable behavior. The skill of explaining involves increasing desirable behaviors mentioned below. Explaining link. This involves using linking words and phrases in the statements or an explanation clearer by bringing continuity in the statements used, and they give a clue to what the teacher is explaining. They are generally conjunctions and prepositions which explicitly indicate the cause, consequences, time sequence, means, or a purpose of an event, concept, action, or condition. Beginning statements. Beginning statements are the introductory statements made before an explanation for operating mental readiness on the part of pupils to listen to what is going to be explained. Concluding statements. Concluding statements are statements summarizing the main points in the explanation stated after the explanation ends. questions to test pupils' understanding. This involves putting questions to pupils to test whether or not they have understood what has been explained. Skill of questioning. The skill of asking questions in the classroom teaching is very important. By asking questions again and again, the teacher makes the pupils more thoughtful. He enables the students to understand the subject deeply. Probing questions are those which help the pupils to think in depth about the various aspects of the problem. Components of the skill. Prompting. The teacher can ask questions when the pupil expresses his inability to answer or accepts frankly that he does not know. In probing questions, pupils get some prompting regarding the answer. Seeking further information. In class, when the pupils are unable to answer any question or answer partially, then in order to receive complete and correct answer, the teacher can ask probing questions by accepting that the answer given is correct, but the pupil should reveal more. There can be alternate answer to the asked question. In this way, the teacher can seek maximum information from the pupils. Refocusing. Sometimes the teachers are not satisfied with the pupils' answers. They draw the attention of the pupils towards different situations where the similar problems can arise. This makes the transfer of learning possible. Redirection. The teacher tries to develop the reasoning power in the pupils by asking various questions. This enables him to encourage the pupils for maximum participation. Critical awareness. By asking the questions bearing why and how, the teacher can develop critical awareness in the pupils. Skill of closure. The skill of achieving closure is one of the major skills of micro-teaching. It is the last skill that is practiced in micro-teaching. The object of this skill is to conclude the chapter or topic that has already been discussed. Achieving closure is similar to a stage known as recapitulation, according to which it is a process of associating new facts with the old knowledge, applying new knowledge in various situations, and ensuring repetition of the facts in the best possible way. Components of the skill. Consolidation of learning by questioning, statement, etc. This involves synthesizing the main points covered during the lesson into a meaningful whole. It can be done either by the questions or by the statements. While ending the lesson, the teacher consolidates the main points with or without the pupil's involvement. The approaches or media the teacher may use include the use of questioning, summary statements, the blackboard, diagrams, maps, etc., either in isolation or in combination. Cognitive link with what already learned. This involves creating situations where the pupils can make use of what they have learned during the lesson in solving the problems in different or new situations. By this approach, both the teacher and the pupils can know whether or not the pupils have understood what has been taught during the lesson. Skill of Blackboard usage. Blackboard is the visual aid in each and every level of education from elementary to higher. Blackboard is the most suitable tool for providing a holistic picture of the lesson. A good Blackboard clear visual presentation helps the learner in understanding the concepts being taught. Components of the skill. Legibility, size and alignment, highlighting the main points, utilization of the space, Blackboard summary, correctness, position of the teacher, contact with the pupil. Conclusion. Micro-teaching skills are generally used to review the teacher's own performance and how much students learn from your teaching. They will give you feedback. Micro-teaching skills are very useful to explain small topics within a short period of time. It is very useful from a teaching learning point of view. Thank you.